Hello, hello, everyone. I'm Ananda, the Galactic Mystic. Welcome to my channel. This is Navigational Astrology, and it's the Equinox. It's the Aries New Moon. Let's talk about it. Happy Equinox. Happy spring equinox to those of you, including myself, in the Northern Hemisphere, and a very happy fall equinox to those of you in the Southern Hemisphere. And these are just really magical days, aren't they? So, this Aries new moon is incredibly powerful. Now, every new moon marks a new beginning. This new moon is incredibly special because it really is hand in hand with the equinox, which is also the beginning of the astrological year, the beginning of Aries season. So it's a whole new cycle we are beginning. And along that vein, we have a lot of whole new cycles that are all interwoven right now. And we are in the middle of cycle upon cycle becoming anew. We have Pluto entering Aquarius on the 23rd. This is a major new cycle. Now, Pluto going into Aquarius, that's a whole other conversation. And it is a really big deal for him to be crossing over that boundary from Capricorn into Aquarius. But it's important to know that he's only going to be there for about 5 weeks. Pluto will be stationing retrograde May 1st or May 2nd, depending on where you are, and will remain retrograde. It will retrograde back into Capricorn to 27 degrees and change of Capricorn for the rest of the year until 2024. So we're really just kind of getting a taste of this. And as Pluto is going back and forth, it's kind of wrap up time. Now, if you, depending on how old you are, if you can think back to 2008 when Pluto first entered Capricorn and kind of did this, a little bit of going back and forth from Sagittarius to Capricorn, that's when we had a huge financial crisis, which we are seeing happening now with the banks. And so, what I've been saying about this is Pluto in Capricorn, in like a lion, out like a lion. And that's how he does. When he first enters, he sets up the themes, and he's got to revisit those themes as he's taking on a new type of learning for us. So personally, pay attention for these 5 weeks when he is in Aquarius to see if you can find the themes for you personally in your life, because it's not just the world and transforming humanity. There's something for each of us individually and in the track and inward spiral of our lives. And Pluto is very thorough, and we do best when we work with him. So pay attention from now until May. See if you can find those threads from Pluto that are for you personally, that are special for you. Saturn just entered Pisces, which is another big deal. He will be stationing retrograde in June. And as Saturn is in Pisces, this is kind of him beginning the wrap up of his cycle. So when he enters Aries in a couple years, he will be beginning an entire new astrological journey around the zodiac. So that's another big deal. These are the eggs that I dyed last year for the spring equinox. I have not yet sort of had my equinox festivities. I'm a little bit behind on that, but that's all right. We've got a whole season to celebrate. And just to kind of get a little nerdy with you, these eggs, I mean, how gorgeous are these? How beautiful are these colors? These I made with natural dyes, all DIY. If you're curious about those, leave me a message in the comments and I'll tell you how I did it. It was so much fun. So beautiful. I will be dyeing eggs like that forever. And I do my egg dyeing. I don't celebrate Easter, so I do it more around the equinox, but I do it whenever the heck I want to, really, because it's all about personal and family traditions that work with your lifestyle and work with the time that you have and that are meaningful to you. So do you, baby? But this is what I'm doing. Look at those gorgeous eggs. So let's take a look at this chart. Oh, before I get to the chart, oh my gosh, you guys, there has been crazy solar activity. Are you aware of this? Let me pull this up so you can see. This is a solar tornado that happened the end of the week last week. And this apparently is incredibly rare. They're not actually sure if they've never seen this before. And so this is from spaceweather.com. And so this thing kind of twirled itself out, wore itself out and, shot off a bunch of geomagnetic energy out into space that will not be coming toward Earth. However, we do have this major coronal hole in the sun right now. Look how big that is. And this is spewing a pretty significant wave of solar wind that is predicted to, be hitting the Earth. I think it's the 23rd, 24th, of course, just when Pluto is entering Aquarius. So we have could be spicy. And just kind of to pause here, as above, so below is so pertinent. It never ceases to amaze me. For those of you, I mean, you're here, so no doubt you pay attention to astrological cycles. And what's happening with solar activity, what's happening with the astrological harmonic spikes, which is something we talk about in my private community, the deep divers, a lot. We watch that. There are so many reflections of this concept, as above, so below. If there's ever a time where we forget or can't see that we are connected to everything, not just each other, but the planetary beings in our cosmos, the threads of energy that connect all of us, it is just really, it gives me pause because while yes, we have a lot of information about it, we can observe it, but there is such a mystery to this. And I love that. So let's take a look at this chart. Okay, so here is our Aries New Moon chart, March 21st, 2023. Happening at 1:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here is our Sun Moon conjunction for our new moon at 0 degrees of Aries and 50 minutes. So this is the Aries point. This 0 degrees of Aries, if you've had a reading with me and you have this in your chart, or if you have been following me for a while, you have likely witnessed me hardcore nerding on 0 degrees of Aries, like all the time. It's one of my favorite things. And I see it as like the energetic birth canal of consciousness. It's like this point where if we were looking at the zodiac as the journey of consciousness or the journey of energy, there's so many ways to think of it. But being in Pisces, which is the sign that comes before Aries, it's the last sign of the zodiac. This is where energy is the most dissipated. This is that drop of water losing itself in the ocean. Nothing is solid here. This is like the other worlds. This is like the space we are in before we incarnate, which is this 0 degrees of Aries. This is like the incarnation point. This is the birth canal, the ring of fire that mothers experience when they're giving birth. This is that hot, bright, fiery light that surges life and consciousness forward through the power of sheer will. I mean, this is the Queen of Wands. This is magic manifestation and bringing things from this nebulous mystery into the here and now. That's pretty cool. So one of the more recent workshops we had in my private community was about how energy moves through the zodiac, how each sign gives birth to the next. And this is one of the primary concepts of navigational astrology, this holistic nature of the zodiac. So here we are at this point of birth. This is so powerful. And we have a conjunction with Mercury, a 5-degree conjunction, and a conjunction with Neptune in Pisces. So how kind of cool is that we have this conjunction that is still kind of reaching into this Pisces mystery. So we're still connected to the magic and mystery of the other world. We still remember what it's like before things became so solid, as a kind of a metaphor right there. So with this conjunction, there's a lot here about agreements and contracts. And I've been taught, that's something that's been coming up a lot astrologically about this, how important it is what we are agreeing to, the agreements we're making, the contracts we're making with other people and with ourselves. So this new moon is really like, hey, let's make some steps forward. Let's plant some new seeds. We have a square with Mars, who is the ruler of Aries. So that is a little bit spicy. We can get a little bit tunnel vision-y about what we're doing. But that isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes that energy is exactly what is called for. And it's a little bit in alignment with this 0 degrees of Aries. It's like, what do you want? But we can't forget the spirit. That's kind of this thread connecting us into Pisces. We cannot forget unconditional love, compassion, spirituality, mystery. And Mars is going to be entering Cancer on Saturday. Mars has been in Gemini since August of last year. He has been tearing it up, and he has been out of bounds forever. Everything has been extra Marsy lately. To add to this, for this new moon, Mars is opposing the Galactic Center. So that gives us sort of this message that, okay, there's an incubation period right now. So the seeds that we are planting, and that makes sense. When we're planting seeds, we know they're not going to yield fruit immediately. We have to learn to work with Saturn and work with time and effort and right relationships. And, that relationship between reaping and sowing and the harvest being connected to the effort and devotion that we put into it. So the Galactic Center gives us an acknowledgement that there is an incubation period. It's not going to be immediate. The results are not going to be immediate. The other thing about Mars is that from now, actually, he's not just beginning this now, but he is in this now. From now until around April 8th, so past our next full moon, Mars is in a very special sort of astrological corridor. And in navigational astrology, I call this the channeling corridor. This is such a furiously ripe psychic intuitive energy. So Mars in Gemini is already setting our minds ablaze, and he has been. We might be a little tired by now of this. If you're an overthinker, you're one of those people who, lays in bed at night and just has thoughts spinning around and around, that's probably been a lot worse since Mars has been in Gemini. But during this time when he's in this special corridor, and even after he moves into Cancer, pay attention. Again, there's so many hints to pay attention to what comes to us right now. Because, well, first of all, if there is a new skill that you're wanting to learn, an intuitive skill, one of your clairs that you want to work with and enhance, this is the perfect time. Go ahead and commit to spending these days working on it a little bit every day and see what happens, because using this energy to your benefit right now is a really smart thing to do. So if you don't have a daily practice of divination or channeling, of pulling a few cards, it doesn't have to be any specific things, just whatever your thing is. Amp that up and see what happens. And I would put some money on you having noticeable improvement in your ability to interpret psychic intuitive messages, your ability to trust what you receive. So give it a try and let me know how it goes. So more about commitment. Venus, Juno, North Node conjunction. Hello. Make commitments that sing in your heart. Just like, let's go ahead and promise each other. I'm promising you and you're promising me that we're not going to make agreements that don't work for us, that don't honor the beauty of who we are. Like, let's just not do that. And I know that can come with some tricky, sometimes we have to let people go. And sometimes those people can be family or like friendships we've had for a really long time that are just kind of hanging by a thread. I just want to, this is your permission slip to go ahead and let people go who do not think you're amazing. I mean, you can keep that going with them if you want to, but like, do you really want to? Is it fear holding you back? Some thoughts about that. And March has been crazy wild with triple conjunctions. I mean, it's just been wild. This Chiron Jupiter Vesta conjunction, which we had earlier, is still very much in play. The three of them are within 4 degrees. This is so healing. So anything that you do about this letting go of people and commitments who are not like in love with you, and I don't mean literally in love, like romantically, but like mutual cheerleading types of situations where you think they're wonderful, they think you're wonderful, and it's all grand. Now, I'm not saying it's always going to be a fairy tale, but you know what I'm saying. Sometimes there's healing available. And that can be healing of these relationships if that's possible. Sometimes it's not possible, and this healing is just for you to heal whatever space is left as you let things go, because this energy is not playing. This is not playing. Go get it. Don't be afraid to want what you want, to go for what you want to go for. You don't have to explain it to anyone. You don't need anyone's permission. Doesn't matter what people be thinking about you. You don't need anyone's permission. You only need your own permission. So, a happy new moon. Go get it. What are you getting? Let me know. I hope you take my advice on this Mars corridor with your intuitive, psychic intuitive abilities and skills. If you take me up on this, I really want you to let me know how it goes. Let me know your results. Big love to you. Big times are coming and we're ready. Much love. I'll see you soon.